Call this public hearing to order. Recording of the roll, please.
All present.
Thank you. And we'll open the public hearing. A public hearing to hear comment on a blight violation at 225 East Harding Avenue, number 52-22-132-220.
We're here to speak about 225 East Harding Avenue. We've had some ongoing problems for years. Mainly there was the man you can see in the left picture has been in and out of that yard since 2014, looking back at my records. And during this summer it went from one vehicle and then went out to three at one point. I did speak with the owner who lives in California. He has somebody in the house. He had paid for a towing company to take the vehicles out, and he said they'd be gone today or tomorrow. And it looks like one was towed this morning. The car that was licensed, the debris in the back, he had to clean up. So there's one vehicle left there, which I believe to be gone today or tomorrow. And he said that, you know, if he planned on that happening, I think we're on our way to having the owner take responsibility for it. And we'll make sure we, you know, brought the public hearing the comments on it. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me, or?
Just that this last contact brought about these changes.
It was once the public hearing was scheduled.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
So it'd still be useful to take some action to make sure that it's done.
Yeah, I would suggest taking action to where you can take care of the rest of it by at the end of the week. The owner was agreeable to that.
Good.
Is there any public comment on this topic? None?
I would like to say something.
Sure, come on up, please, and state your name and address.
Hey, I'm Margaret Celeste. I have two pieces of property, one at 258 East Harding Avenue and one at 243 East Coolidge Avenue. And like they said, this has been an ongoing thing. So what if something's done now and it reverts back? What do you do after that? But if the owner does not take care of it the way he should, what action would you take?
I think that'd be best, Scott.
Sure. Yeah, I would anticipate the city commission will take some action to make sure that the property owner follows through. And if they don't, then give staff direction to go and have the car removed if necessary. I believe that would be the action. So if they don't take care of it, that we can come in and actually address the issue.
I understood that according to the letters that I received. However, I'm asking about what if it stays good now and next year?
Oh, in the future?
Yes.
And that can happen. They can revert back. If that happens, we have in our ordinance, we still have to follow our ordinances, but we do have a way, if we have a habitual offender, where we can bypass a couple of the steps and make it quicker to address it. So we would take that action if for some reason they revert back to having a problem here. And it makes our process go a little faster.
So you wouldn't start down at ground zero?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm wondering. I don't want to have to do this over and over.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this topic? So we'll close the public hearing. And I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recording of the roll again, please.
All present.
Thank you. Item C, approval of the consent agenda.
I did notice that there was, I think, on line 3, it says I opened the meeting, but I was absent last week.
Oh,
so
okay.
just a slight
typo?
A slight typo.
I'll fix it.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Semo to approve the consent agenda as amended. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Virtual.
Yes. Item D, approval of the agenda. There is
I have one
one
change.
addition.
One addition, if you wouldn't mind, Madam Mayor, adding H1, discuss and consider adopting resolution number 017030, ordering removal and abatement of the hazard and nuisance blight located at 225 East Harding Avenue.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended to include H1.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Semo to approve the agenda as amended, adding item H1. All in favor?
Just for purposes of clarification, we would do H1 before H,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
so
you.
those other two pieces are.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item E, approval of the monthly check register report.
If there's any questions, Paul Lynn, the finance director, is out of the office. He's down in some training downstate.
I don't have any questions. I will approve the monthly check register report as presented in the agenda packet.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Semo to approve the monthly check register report as presented. Any other discussion?
Just a comment saying that it was nice that he forwarded us a way to communicate with him if we had any questions before the meeting, so I appreciate that.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mildred.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Virtual.
Yes. Item F, citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda. None? Citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda? None. Moving on to old business, item
H1.
H1. Discuss and consider adopting resolution number 017-030, ordering removal and abatement of the hazard and nuisance blight located at 225 East Harding Avenue, parcel number 52-22-132-220.
I'd like to recommend, if I can, that if the blight is not removed by the end of the week, then give us approval to take care of the situation.
Would you say 10 days or would you add 5 days?
Say 10 days is fine.
All right. I'll make a motion that we set a timeline for abatement of the blight at this location to be commenced no more than 10 days from now.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Mildren, to set a timeline for abatement of the blight located at 225 East Harding Avenue, as described in the resolution, no later than 10 days from now? No sooner?
No, the city staff would go in no sooner than 10 days from now.
Okay, with the city staff abating no sooner than 10 days from now. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Virtual.
Yes. Thank you. Item H, consider approval of rural development pay package in the amount of $219,387.53 for the City of Ironwood's Phase 4 Utility Project Water portion, and authorize the mayor to sign all applicable documents.
Thank you. Again, these are the procedural pay processes for Phase 4, and this is for work completed to date on the project. We do have a representative from the contractor here and also Coleman Engineering if you have any questions. Essentially, Sutherland Street has been completed with the utilities. They're rebuilding the road right now. They're moving on to Washington Street, putting the utilities on Washington Street, and we'll follow up with road rebuilding. If there's any other questions?
I would just like to know how the progress compares to projections.
Projections? Paul, do you want to touch on the schedule and where we're at with the process?
Yeah, we're working through that with the contractor right now and working on setting the timeline, doing some work on the 16-inch main out north of town this winter when the ground is frozen, and then working towards setting a project deadline date in the middle of next summer. And so things are probably a little bit further behind than we would like them to be at this time, but in the last month or so, they've really shown great effort and are making good progress on everything. So we're comfortable with where the direction that they're heading, and we anticipate that things are going to continue to go forward.
Do we have a mandatory completion date?
There is. It's actually it's a calendar day contract, so they have so many days, and that does put them into next year. Again, calendar days depends on, when the season ends, so that's a little bit of a variable. But they do have basically this year and into spring of next year to complete the project. So,
I would like to make the motion to approve the rural development pay package as described in item H.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Mildren, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve the rural development pay package as described in item H. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildren.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Berto.
Yes. And item I, consider approval of rural development pay package in the amount of $162,626.45 for the City of Irwd's Phase 4 utility project sewer portion, and authorize the mayor to sign all applicable documents.
again, same discussion. This is for the sewer part of the project.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay package as described in item I.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Mildren to approve the pay package as described in item I. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildren.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Berto.
Yes. Moving on to new business. Item J, discuss and consider a request from the Historic Irwd Theater to amend or develop a lease agreement with the theater to address building roof repairs.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I've got further documentation here just to show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
As we outlined in the letter to the commission.
Hey, Bruce, just does everybody know Bruce Greenhill, the theater manager, just in case you don't?
Bruce
Sorry.
Greenhill, I'm the manager over at the Irwd Theatre. As you can see on the letter that we sent to you, the total bid cost to replace the roof, according to a bid from Macy Roofing, was $84,300. Because that only included the roof insulation and replacement skin, they did not do an inspection beneath the existing roof when that bid was prepared. The theatre built in, we built in a $15,700 contingency to protect us in case when they remove the old roof, we find that there is significant structural work there to be done. We suspect that there's not, but it would have been irresponsible not to have made some allowance for additional construction costs over and above that which is covered by the Mason bid. The repairs to the painting of the fresco or the murals on the interior, that is an estimate. The artist who did the original artwork there has inspected it. His estimate would be between $5,000 and $10,000. So again, we went to the maximum on that because we figured that was the safer route. We were, at this point, we have secured funding from individual supporters in the amount of $13,190. We were awarded a Michigan Council of the Arts Capital Improvement Grant in the amount of $505. I understand we have a commitment from the Downtown Ironwood Development Authority in the amount of $4,000. And then there is an energy rebate for the for additional insulation. There's a $3,000 rebate there. So we're going to be looking for $60,305 from the city. The immediate need, and I'm not sure what the time frame is, how long this process would take to go through. I would ask that question as to how long that may take, because in order to secure the contract with Nation Roofing, we have 50% down payment. So the need there is $42,150, which would be $42,150 would be the 50% that's required to secure that Nation contract and to secure a commitment to start the work. We currently, as I said, have collected $13,190. So the immediate need from the city to start the work would be $28,960. Again, I don't know how the process works as far as how long it's likely to take to prepare the documentation. But it is my understanding there's a similar process that went through with the downtown art budget a couple of years ago. So we're looking for a similar arrangement here.
We can give you a little bit of background and explanation on the request and how it was funded on a similar type project here a year or two ago. And what their request is, they do intend to pay this back. So it's not structured per se as a loan. It's really structured through their lease agreement. And once Bruce is done and you want a little more information, we'll go through that.
Okay.
So my question would be, for people to bid on this, they went up on the roof, looked at the extent of it. So you had experts up there, and they told you what they perceived the work to be. And do you have a date if we go forward with this? Because we all know that we have October, and maybe we have October. So is NACY ready to go to work on this?
They are in October, November. And one of the complications, if you will, is that the Michigan Council for the Arts and Cultural Affairs grant funding, there's a stipulation on that we can't start the work until the grant paperwork is signed. We still have not received that yet. I anticipate having that this week. But we can't go out and spend money until the McCarter from the Michigan Council for the Arts grant is signed, sealed and delivered. So there's a slight delay there. When we had NACY out last year, earlier in the year to this year to prepare the bid, we asked that they put us into their schedule. They had us in for the fall.
Yeah. Nothing
specific. Since advising them, we secured the grant, that we were looking to pick up the additional funding, and the Todd NACY indicated late October into the first week of November, provided we have the funding in place by that time. The Michigan Council for the Arts grant does require a one-to-one match, but knowing that we would be paying the city back, they accept loan funds as part of their dollar-for-dollar match. So we would be meeting the requirement of the Michigan Council for the Arts grant by restructuring the lease in such a way that we would be paying this roof money back to the city. And we had suggested a 5-year period for that to take place as part of the lease payment.
So what you need from us tonight is the $28,960. Is that?
Yes. Okay. But with the commitment to the
yes.
$60,000.
Yes. Okay.
The completion of the work is obviously, with most contractors, 50% down and 50% on completion. So we would need to balance depending upon how much we raise between now and then for donations. But we just want to make sure we're covered at the upper end in case for whatever reason those donations don't come in as anticipated.
Could I ask you specifics on what type of roof you plan to put on and the year guarantee? Is it
sure.
10, 15, 20?
The Duralast roof that is on the theatre had a 20-year guarantee. which was up 10 years ago, so it's 10 years past its warranty date. The new one has a 20-year manufacturer's no dollar limit warranty, which covers 100% of materials and labour. It's a Duralast roof. I do have the specifications of that Duralast roof if you want them. But, and then the additional insulation would add an R value of 22.8 to the existing roofing system, and that's how we're able to secure the, I mean, obviously there's an additional payout on that insulation, but that's how we get that $3,000 rebate or $3,200 rebate for the utilities energy efficiency program.
Did we decide, I'm on the theater board also, sorry about that. Did the theater board also decide to put the go with the pitched concept of incrementally thicker styrofoam or not?
There was additional prefabricated drain, curb and stack flashing to be installed, and there was discussion of raising the, I don't recall the dimensions, but there was discussion of raising the centre so that it drains to, because the drains are like that, rocks around the edge of the roof. So there was building that insulation up. I don't have any specifications.
No, one other, maybe a hard question for you, or maybe an easy question, I'm not sure, but I mean, we all know what the theater means to Irwd, culturally, historically, business-wise. Is there a value? Is there a value placed on the theater, the structure in the building itself?
That would be it's a city-owned building, and
There is an insurance value. I don't have that off the top of my head. It's significant.
It's significant, right? So $110,000 roof to protect.
$1 million or whatever. I mean, I've not seen the figure, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's significant. I know that. So I would like to make the motion that the city of Irwd loan to the hit theater roof for $60,305, and the first payment to be made would be the $28,960.
I was going to point out that it's not a loan, so I don't know what the verbiage would be.
Right, what we'd be asking the city commission direction on is, if you're okay with going forward, is to authorize staff and the city attorney to put together a lease agreement similar to what we did with the Downtown Arts Place. And we have to structure it that way, just with technicalities on that. That way it's structured where the theater will pay back for that lease agreement.
A lease agreement that reflects these numbers.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And then a payment plan, so over 5 years, I would assume no interest, similar to the Downtown Arts Place.
I would include that in my motion.
And then, if you want us to bring that back to you, or you want us to set that up and then, authorize us to sign it, or do you want to have it come back to you at the next meeting?
I do have a question. When you talk about coming up with the $28,960, where would the monies, like what department, where's that coming from?
What they would have to come out of is the fund balance. And again, that's your pot of money to do projects with citywide. And if this project is one you want to go forward with, that's where the dollars would come from. So.
Okay. Do we need to do any sort of budget amendment or anything like that?
You would, yes.
Okay.
Ultimately, that can come afterwards, but.
Okay, gotcha.
And would the final loan amount be determined once these other factors are answered, like if contingency repairs are needed, and if these other funding sources come through in terms of other potential revenue sources?
Correct. Their maximum request would be up to $60,000, so it may be less than that. So we would write that all into that lease agreement. Again, with the DAP, they went forward with the work, came up with their final dollar amount, and that's what the city helped them with through the lease agreement. So again, it all gets paid back to the city through this agreement, and that's structured in that document. So.
And my motion is for the expected city loan to be a maximum of $60,305.
Do we need a motion? Or do you want to just bring the lease back at the next meeting so we can approve it?
I guess timing-wise, we're looking at 2 weeks, Bruce, to do that. Sounds like with your timing, how does that work?
I suspect if we let the contractor know that it looks like it's been approved, subject to paperwork, I'm sure that they could put us into the schedule. That's my concern at the moment, getting us into the schedule so that we get it done before the snow flies.
So we'd be looking from action from the city commission to authorize us with those parameters to develop the lease agreement, bring that back to you. With that action, they may have a comfort level to go forward and at least get it, in their schedule.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if there's like a 2-week lead time in terms of actually ordering the roof materials, that we don't stall that whole, with winter coming. I'm just concerned for the...
How about if we do this, then we authorize city staff to restructure the lease to reflect the required amount of money and the time parameters, and leave it at that and vote on that. Would that do what we need to do?
And authorize us then through the city attorney to structure that,
Yeah.
execute the agreement, or do you want that brought back to you?
I'm comfortable with approving that as it is.
I am too. I don't know.
Yeah, my motion was to take these numbers and incorporate them into the lease as was done for the DAP, so that was in my original motion.
And the 3 important parameters are up to $60,000, 5 years, and no interest. If that's what you're intending.
Okay.
And you're confident the theater can pay this back? There's no issues with money, theater's doing well and financially?
I believe we have the capacity to back back, and I think the response already in the early stages of the fundraising has been very positive, and that will continue through until such time as it's paid back. We have budgeted, a operating budget to make repayments, so I'm comfortable that everything has been put in place to ensure that.
Right. And, I'm basing my motion on these figures. And you have stated, you have the HIT fundraising, the Macaca grant, the DID grant, the energy incentive, and to go ahead with this plan, you need our motion.
The 13,000 there is hard cash that we have collected from donors already.
Yeah.
The extent to which that continues is an unknown, but all those other numbers in there are either in hand or committed.
So we have a motion. We should have had discussion unless we had support, but is there support for Commissioner Mildren's motion?
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion from Commissioner Mildren, seconded by Commissioner Semo, to authorize the city staff to restructure the lease agreement with the Historic Ironwood Theater to address their building roof repairs based on the numbers presented. Is that sufficient?
Yes.
Authorizing a 5-year short-term payment structure at 0% interest. Is there any other questions or discussion?
And to authorize us to execute that?
Yes, and authorize
so
you
bring
to...
it back to you. So structure that with the city attorney and make sure it's written properly.
Yes, I include that.
Mayor to sign, same.
Does that make sense, Mr. Dean? It does.
Thank you.
Do we need a roll call vote or just a regular vote on that?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Semo?
Yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Virgil?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one thing for Scott. Scott, would you look up the assessed value of the theater and get that to us?
I will.
Thank you.
Yep.
Item K, discuss and consider adopting resolution number 017-032, Michigan Department of Natural Resource Trust Fund grant application for the Southern Beltline Trail Acquisition Project.
All right, so we got back our preliminary scoring for our DNR Trust Fund grant for the Beltline acquisition. We scored fairly well, but they give us an opportunity to add supplemental information to gain more points on the application to increase our likelihood of being funded. So what I have in front of you guys is an adjustment to our original resolution on terms of the city's share to match the grant. By adjusting it up $725 from 25% match to a 26% match, it actually gives us a 15-point score increase, which is substantial with these applications. So that's what this resolution is for. It'd be a replacement of the old resolution, increasing the amount from the original $18,125 to $18,850. So that's why we're here.
I have a question. I know at one point, I know the motorized sports were looking at that. If we go through this trust fund grant application, is there any way that the potential will be limited to eventual motorized sports use in that area?
Yeah, this would be a multi-use trust.
Okay, great.
Is what the
Thank you.
application
I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
And I didn't finish writing down the full dollar amount. It
Oh,
went
so the new, or for the whole project or for the match?
for the match.
$18,850 is the new amount that is cited in the new resolution.
So this new information, we just got this?
We just got it last week, our preliminary scoring.
Yeah.
And then I have until October 2nd to get all the information back to them.
Okay.
I'm also doing some other stuff for this grant as well in terms of getting property owner commitment and to work with the city in order for the acquisition.
And have we already budgeted the smaller amount?
We have.
This is easy.
Correct.
I'll make a motion, we authorize doing whatever this agenda item says here. Hang on.
Yeah.
Just need to adopt the resolution.
Adopt the resolution described in item K.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to adopt the resolution as described in item K. Any other questions, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Power.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Bertel.
Yes. Thank you. Item L, discuss and consider awarding a bid for 1,500 tons of winter sand to Smiley's Excavating in the amount of $10,500.
Again, about every 2 years, we go out and get a fairly sizable stockpile of winter sand. And it actually has to be a structural sand. As you might think it's just sand we put on the road, but it actually has a certain grit and it takes some effort to make that. So we did go for bids this year. We had 2 bidders, and Smiley's was the low bidder. And we did look back at previous bids as very comparable to what we paid in the past also. So we think it's very competitive, and we are recommending approval of the bid.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we award the bid as described in item L.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to award the bid as described in item L. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Power.
Yes.
Bertel.
Yes. Item M, discuss and consider awarding bid for well number 202 rehabilitation to Binns Brothers Well and Pump in the amount of $19,200.
We just received one bid from Irwd Brothers, $19,200. That is very comparable with the last well that they did. I would recommend awarding the bid to them. Climate well drilling, they did in the past. They did send a note that they're overworked or they have too much work. They didn't have time to come here and work on this well at this time.
I'll make a motion, we award the bid as described in item M.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to award the bid as described in item M. I know it's looking forward, but, or should I not discuss item N, which follows it with respect to item M?
Well, we can
Are they
get back
related?
to M and then I'll talk about N next.
Okay.
The replacement of the pump was omitted from the bid, and when we did, I think, well number 201, we replaced the pump in that. The existing pump in 202 was 21 years old. It was installed in 1996. So I want to ask for a motion to for a change order to all Binns Brothers to replace the pump. That was the next item.
Yeah, I just needed in my brain that
Oh, okay.
clarification. Thank you. Is there any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mildred.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Bertel.
Yes. So item N, discuss and consider approving the change order number 1 for well number 202 rehabilitation project.
That's what that bid is right there, just replacing
make a motion to approve the change orders described in item N.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Semo to approve the change order as described in item N. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Birchall.
Yes. Thank you. Item O, discuss and consider approving balancing change order and payment number 1 to Farner Asphalt Sealers in the amount of $27,231.31 for the 2017 pavement markings.
Thank you. Again, this is for the pavement striping that was completed earlier this summer. And again, everything has been completed through town. You will see that the dollar amount has gone up a little bit. It's based on actual quantities installed, so if they do a little more footage of yellow center line, we pay them for that. So you see from what was awarded, originally it was $26,227.50. It's about $1,000 more. That's based on actual final quantities. And we do have the money in the street budget to fund this.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the balancing change order, et cetera, as described in item O.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve balancing change order as described in item O. Any other questions, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Birchall.
Yes. Item P, discuss and consider approving traffic control orders for Zone 7, 8, and 9 for the City of Ironwood.
Good evening. This has been an ongoing process. We've kind of broken the city up into zones, and we're working through rewriting our traffic control orders. They haven't been redone since the 50s. They've just been added to. So we're completing the traffic control orders through Zone 9. Zone 10 will be completed by next meeting. So that'll be a significant accomplishment. And then we'll go on to the parking signs. We're looking for approval on Zone 7, 8, and 9.
Are there any changes to any intersections? I kind of was going through this and
There are significant changes.
Yes.
Karen could vouch for this. The book is basically disorganized. So we kind of broke it into zones. That was one of the strategies we used.
I guess what I'm really asking though is, as far as stop sign locations, is there any change in that?
Nothing significant. Typically, the significant traffic control changes I do bring to the commission, such as on McLeod, when we made those changes for Greenbush, I believe those were brought to the commission. But these are typically just our residential areas.
Mm-hmm. Because we all have our pet corners that have stop signs that we really dislike. I have one, for example, in front of Brandon's house. You know, so, and that's on this order, and going through the order, I don't see it being required to be signed the way that it is. So that's why I was wondering.
There can be changes made. Once again, I have each officer go through their zone and determine where stop signs need to be removed.
Mm-hmm.
I tend not to encourage the addition of stop signs as traffic control devices.
Right.
Because they have been proven not to work.
Right.
Actually, it creates traffic hazard. So one of our strategies has been to have the officer take ownership in their zone and determine if they're necessary or not.
Right.
If there are concerns, I would definitely let us know at public safety and we will address that.
That's what I was thinking before we approve this, is to give people a chance to give you some feedback on what they think might be some areas that could be improved.
I would recommend improving it because it's very easy to make changes.
All right.
Because once again, there's numerous locations and we can, I believe where Brandon lives, we put that in during the construction season, when there was construction in that area, to slow traffic down coming down the hill, I believe. So that would be one that we would take a look at. There are a handful, but I will agree with that. But once again, in the grand scheme, we're looking at potentially 90 stop signs, or 50 to 90 stop signs. Changing 3 or 4 of them is not that difficult.
All right. Because what had confused me also was you had some drawings where there was some yellow highlighting. I was trying to see if
I'm
that...
sorry for the maps. And I'll take responsibility for that. Jason does a great job. He'll go through and produce a map with a stop sign at each location. Just that the timing has not worked.
Right. So I was just as confused because, for example, the map on number 8, for number 8 has several highlighted areas, and I didn't know if that indicated changes or...
No, that's just the locations where there's numerous stop signs, and we're invited to look at those areas.
So it wasn't about changes or anything
No,
like
no,
that?
there are no changes. Once again, it's just areas of significance where they're told to go out and determine what would be best in that area.
All right.
And once again, I guess each officer ownership of that area, they kind of take pride in determining traffic concerns in those areas. And on top of that, we do take complaints and determine if we need to adjust traffic control devices. But once again, I caution against the utilization of stop signs as traffic control to slow vehicles down or...
You know, I have to ask you this though, okay? So the 3 areas where I see people speeding in our town are coming down McLeod, especially when they're in the area of the public safety department, because it's a hill going both ways, and there was a 4-way stop down there, and it's gone now.
Yeah, so 3.
Yeah.
Or it's just one stop sign.
Yeah, there was a stop sign there, and I've seen people pull out in front of other people on a number of occasions. The other corners in downtown Irwd, I haven't seen any accidents, and I haven't seen that. But I have seen where people are driving 35, you know, they're over the speed limit. They're going down the hill in either direction. And you know, that was a change we made. So when we made that change, it took place after some of the reconstruction, during the reconstruction. Have there been significant accidents at that corner? And then the other one, now people don't use Douglas because of the long stop sign on the end of Douglas and US 2, so they're all traveling Lowell, and the speed on Lowell has gone up, especially, you know, coming down the hill in both directions. And then the third place where I see people speeding is Paul Anderson. You live on Margaret. And Margaret Street, with the width of the street and the length of the street without a stop sign, and people drive too fast there. And I know that to be a fact in all 3 places because our buses see the same thing. You see that when you ride a bike where people are going, when people are driving 20 and 25, you're comfortable next to them. When they're driving 35, you're not comfortable. So just to ask you about those 3 things.
Well, I'll take one each time. So the Aurora McLeod Triangle that used to...
Yes.
That was being a traffic hazard, how it was designed. So I believe that was prior to my time.
Yeah.
So was it MDOT came in and redesigned that intersection?
Right. MDOT changed it, and then we didn't change it back after that.
So that one, and especially traveling down the hills, people tend to gain speed, and the width of the road going towards Hurley on Air Street does kind of promote speed. So we put this, what we do is we do speed trailer, we do try to do speed radar there. And we've had no accidents. So accidents really play into where we focus on certain areas. Also 2 complaints, and we have very, if not any complaints in that area. The biggest problem we see is Lowell and Margaret Street. Lowell Street, very unique because once again you have no traffic calming effect. It's a straight shot. It's one of the feeder roadways. So we try to put the radar trailer out and do more enforcement than usual on that.
Right. I see more police enforcement on Lowell than...
Once again, it's, you know, and we have our squad cars now where they're not as obvious, but squad cars do stand out. It doesn't take long for people to figure out what they look like. So once again, speed limit's 25. You cannot go below 25 on residential areas. So I would not recommend putting stop signs on Lowell Street. Margaret Street, similar situation, and Scott and I have met numerous times to come up with strategies on Margaret Street and Lowell Street. And we've come up with some strategies, but we're kind of monitoring traffic this year to see if complaints were up. A lot of the construction was completed in those areas because we saw heavy use of Margaret Street during the construction period. People were using that as US 2. So we were just waiting a year to see, did we have accidents, did we have complaints? We do have speed. I would say the average speed that we measure when we're out there is about 31.
Okay.
So once again, on a bike on Margaret Street, if a vehicle goes past you at 31, that would seem fast. So we are looking at each individual area.
Right, I've contacted it. I work with MDOT all of the time. So MDOT echoes your feeling on stop signs. But really for myself, one stop sign in each one of those 3 streets would be the way that I would do it. But
I rely upon the traffic engineers, and their feedback and just the studies. And historically, stop signs tend to create more hazardous situations than eliminate. So those are the strategies we try to look at. What would a stop sign do in one of those locations? I believe it would create hazard versus benefit. So I think there's other strategies out there. And Scott and I have looked at some of those strategies, and like I said, the year before was a construction year in that area, or maybe 2 years ago. So we were just trying to get that full year of normal traffic flow. We did have some complaints on the Margaret Street location. Lowell Street, we have very few complaints. I think the design of the road supports that little bit faster traffic. And once again, 28 to 31 is the average speed, and I understand that speeding, and we do offer a lot of warnings. It's one of those challenges of finding the balance, how to patrol that and make a positive impact. And we're always thinking of different strategies to use there. The speed trailer tends to work in directed patrols, but we are thinking of other strategies.
Thank you. Thanks.
Andrew's 100% correct when he says stop signs are not effective at reducing speed. The one on the house that Rick does not care for is a perfect example. Coming down the hill on Brogan, they're doing 50 plus miles an hour. And before the stop sign, that's how fast they're going. And now they just blow the stop sign. They might hit the brakes a little bit, it slows them down a little bit, but they're not stopping. They're blowing it. I can hear them at 2 o'clock in the morning as they, gun past, 35, 40 miles an hour without being slowed down. It's there, but the police cannot be everywhere either. They don't expect them to sit at a stop sign. And then unfortunately, that's what it would take, is for people to start getting zing tickets. And maybe it would adjust their habits. But it's not reasonable to expect them to sit on these stop signs all the time either. And you start putting up stop signs on Lowell Street, they're just going to blow them, and then you're going to have accidents because people aren't going to like the stop signs when they haven't been there. You don't understand what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
I've had some close calls by one of those too. People that don't like it, they just kind of roll through it and not pay attention.
Maybe somewhere down the road here we could have strategies that.
And my strategy has always been to involve the community members in that area, or just community members in general, because as I've stated numerous times, Irwd Public Safety does not have all the answers, and I don't claim to want to have all the answers. I believe that the community has to take ownership in this problem and be part of the solution, because I will tell you this, when we do our traffic, I won't call them studies, but our directed patrols, a lot of those violators are members of that neighborhood or location. So a lot of our violators are members of that street. I believe we have to take ownership as community members in part of the problems.
I'll make a motion, we approve the traffic control orders that are described in item P.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Simo, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the traffic control orders as described in item P. Further discussion? Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildred?
Yes.
Simo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Berta?
Yes. And Andrew, I'd like to just add that I kind of agree with Jim, and I respectfully respect, the traffic flows on Margaret and Lowell are separate concerns, but for some reason, that intersection at Lowell and McLeod, every time I'm at it, I have to first, I don't know why, I don't read that there's a stop sign, but I really struggle there personally. And trying to turn left onto McLeod there can be tricky with fast-flowing traffic coming from both. And I think it's because it's in our core downtown, and almost every other intersection that's parallel to Aurora, like on Air Street or McLeod, has stop signs. And so you have to like logically think, okay, this is the one that does not have the stop sign. And for some reason, I really struggle with it, and I've heard other people, but so I have to, just on that one spot, I don't, and I think we removed them because McLeod became an alternate business too,
Yes.
right? And so we
Correct.
wanted traffic to flow through. But for decades upon decades, when we had a much bigger population, that stop sign was always there. And I'm not saying that old is always better, but I would just respectfully concur with Commissioner Mildren that we just explore that one additionally. So that's just my opinion, though.
And as drivers, we're creatures of habit, so
Well, yeah.
locals really struggle with that. And the same goes with putting one in or taking one out. It creates havoc for the local drivers. One of the challenges.
Yeah, I agree, I know. Okay, enough of that. Thank you. Moving on to manager's report.
All right, just a few items to touch on. I wanted to recognize again our community volunteers that were part of the Bridges and Bluffs first annual race this weekend. Went very well. There's a huge amount of collaboration between Irwd, Besmer, the Health Foundation, all our volunteers, under Public Safety, the Sheriff's Department. It was just really nice to see that. And I think they pulled off a great event, and hopefully we'll have many years to come of having that grow. Because I think the participants had they enjoyed the time they had here. So our hats off to them as they are helping us move forward. One other item to touch on, and if you happen to see Mr. Steve Leto in the next few days, stop by the cemetery and wish him well. He's going to be retiring actually at the end of the week. So he's been with us for 22 years in various capacities, most recently as our sexton. And he's done a great job for the city. So stop in and wish him well. And we have promoted Dan Sertic to take his place. So Dan will be filling in when Steve officially retires at the end of the week. So again, wish him both well, and stop down there and say hi.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you having a gathering, or?
We are not specifically. He wanted to just.
Quietly.
I think internally there'll be a lot of, recognition for him, but externally, I think he wants to just go into the retirement. So, this is probably maybe get a little more clarification on this, but we are moving forward with the next First Friday event, and there is a certain theme going on here that we're all talking about, discussing. I did attach off the internet a little background information on Platter Day. So I'm going to turn it over to Tom, so you can explain what you're thinking or what the thought is with the next theme for First Friday coming up downtown.
Yeah, so the city's working with Stormy Cromer for this next First Friday event to celebrate our Yuki holiday called Platter Day. Basically, the idea is to get as many people wearing plaid as possible and take a picture out on Main Street for the First Friday event. And then some local businesses are probably going to do some sort of discount if people wear plaid to their business and things like that. So that's what's the next First Friday event.
Thanks for the explanation. It took a little while for me to register that. And they did compare it to, Saturday, Platter Day, so there's a connection there. So.
Is it Platter Day or is it Plaid Your Day?
Platter.
I think it's like platter, like Saturday, I believe.
Okay.
Or you can interpret it either way, probably. But anyway, they're having fun with it, and hopefully they'll have another good weather and a good downtown event. If you haven't been by the Little League field, maybe take a ride by, you'll see a lot of work that's been accomplished out there with the concession stand. There's a new concession stand, and also has boys and girls restrooms built in with it. Again, number of volunteers, we're going to want to definitely recognize their efforts going forward here. It's been a huge undertaking this summer by a lot of different entities, and it'd be nice to have a ribbon cutting and recognition for all the people that have been involved in that. But you can see where it's at here. This is in between the two ball fields, and again, a great building, a block building. It'll be there for many, many years to come, and a real nice enhancement to that ball field complex. So again, work in progress, but they made a lot of progress with that over the summer. We're also working with Snow Country Contracting. They were awarded the 5 blighted additional houses to come down this year. Their environmental consultant is going through removing the environmental remediation from the houses as we speak, and we expect that to be concluded here shortly, and then Snow Country will come in and start the demolition. So we don't have an exact date yet when they'll start demolition, Dennis, but probably within the next couple weeks. We'll start seeing that activity occur. You probably also saw over the last couple of weeks a lot of toilet paper going on in the streets. If you notice crack sealing, we had a crack seal contractor come in and they route the crack and they put the flexible material in there, and they actually it's actually toilet paper they put on top of that to keep it from cracking. And again, they went through very effectively. This company is really geared up to get that work done. They did everything north of the highway we wanted them to do. We had an area south of the highway, and we actually had some quantity to go even a little beyond that. So again, that work has been completed. We're tallying up the footage right now. We pay them by the foot of crack that they seal. And if there's any remaining quantity, we'll have them do a few more blocks. But right now, they're essentially complete with the project unless we find there's a little more quantity. So again, a great preventative maintenance way to extend the life of our streets. Sealing those cracks is critical.
Yeah, Scott, I always wondered why they put the toilet paper. You said to keep it in the cracks. But the other important thing it does is it doesn't allow you to ride a bike through it or step in it. And if you do either one, it immediately puts it covers the sole of your foot or 6 inches of your bike with that dries immediately.
Sure.
And you can barely get it off. And so I was unlucky, that I found one spot where it had run down, and I rode my bike through it. But then I looked for other spots, and there was not another spot. I hit the only spot in miles and miles and miles of it. So it's really good that they do that, and I understand why now for a variety of reasons.
Sure, and it's kind of a secondary benefit, I guess, for doing that. Sure. We are going to have our cleanup day, again, where people can drop unwanted things that they want to get rid of. It'll be Saturday, October 7th on the lot on Air Street. We've been doing that for many years. It'll be 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And again, encourage people to come out, use that service. If they have things they want to get rid of, we'll be doing some more notification over the next week or two just to make people aware of that. And the last on my list is with our Public Safety Director, Irwd Cty. This will be his last meeting with us. So again, as you know, he has taken another position with the college. Great for them, loss for us. It was nice that we were able to extend some of his time through the end of the month. We are moving forward with filling the position. We're going to be going through interviews on October 6th is the date we have set to do the interviewing, and then move forward with filling the position. But I really do want to recognize Andrew. He's been a big part of our success with the city going forward, with public safety, obviously. But he's got the whole city at mind. So as we sit down as a group, we all weigh in on things, and it's not just their department they talk about the city. And Andrew's a great reflection of that input in moving us forward. So he's been a big part of that over the years, and I just want to recognize that. And a round of applause, because a lot of times we don't recognize what they're doing. And the college is lucky to have him, and I'm sure he'll do very, very well over there as an instructor. And we'll be tapping into his resources going forward as a citizen of the community to be involved and remain involved with the city. So.
Yeah, Certainly for myself and perhaps on behalf of the whole commission, thank you, Andrew, for your service to our city and for your leadership. And thanks for still staying in our community and being a great part of our community. But if any other commissioners would like to add anything, please do.
Thank you for everything you've done. And
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, great job.
We'll miss you.
I'll just give you one of these.
Thank you.
And if I could say something really quick.
Of course.
It's been an honor to work for the city of Irwd, work for a great commission, great city staff. Scott's been great. It's been a great job. I don't regret anything. The biggest challenge was deciding to leave. I mean, that was a very difficult decision to make, and family became involved, and it's been a great opportunity. And working for the city and seeing where the city is at, it's been a great honor to be part of that. And like I told Scott, if the city ever needs anything, I'm not going away. I'm here to stay now, and it's just been a great opportunity. So I just want to thank you for that. The city provided me with an opportunity as public safety officer and then director, and it's been a great opportunity and a great experience, and I thank you for everything.
Thank you. Moving on to other matters. Any other comments? I had one question with respect to the DNR grant applications. I think, did we apply for that little neighborhood grant for the park?
Yes, we did.
And any update on that process?
Yeah, we got our preliminary scoring. We do have some supplemental information that we need to provide for that as well.
Okay.
So we're working on that too.
Okay.
And I have to mention the Bridges and Bluffs Half Marathon. All of the volunteers that turned out, the thousands of dollars that are raised for upkeep of the trail, our own historic Depot Park filled on Saturday with way over 250 people, and then all of those people enjoying food, the trail, just a wonderful venue for Ironwood, and it'll go on year to year, and it will grow from year to year, and you could easily see that attracting 300 or 400 people down the road and raising annually in excess of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Great event.
Yeah, it was certainly reflected in the front page of the paper today when they highlighted that event, and then the fitting fall ride, and then that triathlon kayak thing at Guile Flowage, and just so many fabulous events in the area, making this a really fun, active, and again, so many fabulous volunteers that make it happen. And you're right, Jim, Depot Park just shined that day.
Oh.
It just shined.
The flag waving,
Yeah.
and
It was
the people
beautiful.
crossing the finish line, it was awesome.
Yeah. Any other matters? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Support?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to adjourn at 6:30. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Brett still helping you out?